Formula One this season is changing the dynamics of the sport. Those who dominated in the past, Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, are on the back foot. And it's a former conqueror, McLaren, with fairly new faces in Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, who seem to be controlling the steering wheel currently. But the rev and thrill of this high-speed motorsport will only get louder from here on, because Formula One could face the biggest fallout in 75 years of its history. And it concerns Red Bull and Max Verstappen. 4 out of the 24 races have been completed. The 5th will take place over the weekend, and it's McLaren that's ticking all the boxes. They are top of the constructors' standings. Lando Norris is number 1 in the drivers' standings, and his teammate a close second. Mercedes too are showing some fight, with George Russell leading the charge for them. Ferrari are still building a new team with the focus on Lewis Hamilton and familiar Charles Leclerc. But the biggest chaos surrounds defending drivers' champion Max Verstappen and his Red Bull team. Verstappen is 8 points behind Norris, and Red Bull is lagging by 80 in the team standings. In his 4 races, the driver has finished on the podium twice. That includes his Japanese Grand Prix win earlier this month. Still, a decent start, isn't it? But not if you are Max Verstappen, who's used to starting a season strong. And it comes as no surprise. He's won 4 consecutive drivers' titles. Things aren't expected to go upwards for a driver of his caliber, and that's what you think. And the 7th placed finish at the Bahrain Grand Prix last weekend didn't make it any easy. So despite the season being in its early stages, there are murmurs of Verstappen being unhappy to an extent that Red Bull is concerned over the driver leaving the team.
With such a performance, it won't be anything to do with the World Championship. The concern is great. We have to create a basis with a car so that he can fight for the World Championship.
And this, coming from Marko, suggests that these aren't just wayward, offhand concerns or remarks, because the Red Bull advisor is probably the closest to Verstappen in that team. Marko's statement comes after the team held a crisis meeting following the Bahrain blow-up, a race where Verstappen was left fuming over the car and some of the decisions made by Red Bull.
The pace was very bad. Our tires are just overheating, so when I'm braking there is no feeling. Basically everything went wrong that could go wrong.
And while Red Bull team principal Christian Horner did acknowledge the issues, he went ahead to say that the solutions won't come overnight.
This race has exposed some pitfalls that are obviously very clear that we need to get on top of very quickly. We understand where the issues are. It's introducing the solutions that obviously take a little more time.
You couldn't miss the irony in Horner's statement there. This is the same team that expects immediate results from their drivers. But when it comes to delivering the same themselves, they want a little more time. Just 2 races ago, Liam Lawson, who was promoted from RB to Red Bull, was sacked. He was replaced by Yuki Tsunoda. Reason? The driver failed to grab a single point, but just 2 races. They didn't even wait for a good stretch before dumping him. And Verstappen wasn't happy about this either. So how is Horner and Red Bull expecting the driver now to show loyalty when the team itself isn't keeping their end of the deal? And this despite Horner knowing that Verstappen isn't quite happy with the Red Bull management season, especially since the last time it happened, especially since the last year. The Christian Horner saga, where he was accused of inappropriate behavior, had divided Red Bull, especially when Horner was let off first by his own team internally and then, of course, Formula One. The only reason why Verstappen stayed on was because of what Red Bull was giving him, a challenging car, a setup that has been crucial in his championship journeys. But if that part is also falling apart, will he be willing to stay on? Former driver Ralf Schumacher feels that the writing is already on the wall.
I think the fish is cleaned. Unless there is suddenly a car in Imola that suddenly competes for victories. It is logical that he wants to compete for victories. He has the opportunity to choose the best car in the paddock, and Red Bull obviously isn't.
Sure, Verstappen is contracted till 2028 with Red Bull, but it also includes a performance clause, details of which Red Bull didn't share last season. But maybe that could trigger his move out of the team, and especially at a time when Mercedes and Aston Martin have shown keen interest in the driver. Mercedes have had a decent start to the season as well. Sure, the feud with George Russell last year might be a turn-off for the Dutch driver, but between his friction with Russell and the anger he has been carrying in him for Horner and Red Bull, maybe the four-time world champion could pick the former. Red Bull needs some rejig, and they need it now. Because at stake is Verstappen leaving, or maybe they will pay the price for their own template. A tit-for-tat for the loyalty they show towards their drivers, all building up to a volatile Red Bull drama once again this year.
Greeting you with aloha and namaste.
I love India.
Presence, occupation of a territory by another country pertains to India, what we saw in Kashmir.
How do you see Trump's America?
Yes, the current administration behaves differently from the previous administration.
Are you saying that there are foreign powers who are trying to bring down the current government in Syria?
Exactly.
Bluntly, Iran, maybe Russia too.
Prime Minister Modi committed to South-South, cooperation.
Not over 50%.
Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.